We live in a culture that constantly urges action, always demanding that we run faster, do more, and grab more to feel we are moving forward. From a very young age, we were taught that if we want to achieve anything, we must chase it, work relentlessly, and prove that we are worthy. Yet what few recognize is that the very mindset of chasing becomes an invisible tether holding us back. You may have wondered why the more you desire something, the farther it slips from reach. Why the harder you try to find love, the more emptiness you feel. Why the more you crave freedom, the more boundaries close in. Why the more you want money, the more acutely you feel lack. This is not the universe being unfair. It is a quantum paradox. Most of us have never understood. In the quantum world, reality does not respond to haste. It does not care how hard you have worked, how much you have sacrificed, how many nights you stayed awake, or how much you labored. The quantum field is not swayed by pressure, it only resonates with harmony. That means every chase, every worry, every fear you carry broadcasts a signal. And that signal does not tell the universe that you want more, it only tells the universe that you are lacking. At the deepest level, the quantum field is a sea of energy, a limitless network of possibilities. It is like a perfect mirror that reflects exactly the frequency you emit. If you act repeatedly from anxiety, urgency, and craving, the field reflects back anxiety, urgency, and craving. You may repeat positive affirmations every day. You may cover your vision board with images of your dreams, but if the energy inside you is a current of scarcity, the universe will only bring more scarcity. Observe yourself in the moments when you resolve to pursue something. Notice how you usually feel. Beneath that resolve, there is often a fear of not being enough, fear of missing out, fear of failing if you do not seize it in time. That fear is the signal you are sending, a signal that cannot deceive the quantum field. This explains why many people yearn for prosperity, yet circle endlessly in lack, long for love, yet meet only hurt, crave freedom, yet are chained by their own fears. When you cling too tightly to the result, you are declaring to the universe that the result does not yet exist. When you try to control everything, you are sending the message that you do not trust. And this is the paradox that makes everything you chase move even farther away. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you sat in front of a vision board, read positive affirmations over and over, or perform rituals others said would help you attract what you desire, yet after all of that, you still felt an emptiness, a distance between you and the outcome you were aiming for? Why is that? Because in quantum reality, words or rituals have no effect if your inner state is still in conflict. You may say you are wealthy, but inside you tremble with worry about unpaid bills. You may affirm that you are happy, but your heart feels heavy with loneliness. You may wish for freedom, but your body is tense and your mind is shackled by fear. The universe does not hear the words you say. It only listens to the resonance you broadcast from within. This is where most people misunderstand. They believe that if they repeat an idea long enough, it will become real. But in quantum reality, repetition has no power if the inside is not aligned. The quantum field does not respond to forced effort, it only responds to harmony. When you live in contradiction, you send out a distorted signal like an instrument out of tune that can never play the right melody. And when that distorted signal is sent out, the universe can only return experiences that match it. The secret most resist accepting is that you do not attract because you beg. You attract because you become. This is a simple truth, but also a demanding one, because to become means you must change the very energy you are living in. Not changing by chasing a future that does not yet exist, but by embodying the version you desire right now in this moment. When you become, you no longer live in lack, you no longer see what you long for as distant, you live as if it has always been there. And the quantum field has no choice but to reflect that truth. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, if today you truly became the wealthy, free, and fulfilled version of yourself you have always dreamed of, how would you feel? How would you walk? How How would your eyes change? What kind of energy would your words carry? Can you see it just by imagining? Just by letting that feeling fill your body, you have already begun to tune into a new frequency. And that is the first step of transformation. No longer a fabricated ritual, but a state of true living. I want to ask you something, and this is a very important part of this conversation. What is it that you most deeply desire right now? Do not answer in silence. Leave me a comment below. By sharing, you are not only letting me know you are here, you are also sending a clear signal about what you are choosing. I want to hear you so that I know I am not speaking alone, so that I can feel your presence, because your presence is a priceless gift to any creator, including me. Thank you. Truly thank you for being here, for giving your time and energy to this journey. And as you type your desire, realize a profound truth, that in the very moment you acknowledge it, you have already stepped into the process of becoming. Because the difference lies here. Begging is waiting for something outside to come and save you. Becoming is rebirthing the energy inside so that what you want is no longer far. It becomes a reality living through you. The quantum field never distinguishes who you are on the surface. It only responds to the frequency you broadcast. You emit lack. You receive lack. You emit fullness. You become a magnet for fullness. Remember, you cannot deceive the universe with words or rituals. You can only resonate with it through the alignment of your mind and emotions. And that alignment begins with your decision. The decision that you are no longer standing outside looking in at the life you want, but you are already part of it, right now, in every breath. This is the power of becoming instead of begging. It does not require you to chase a goal. It requires you to merge with the very frequency of that goal. And when you do, reality can do nothing but mirror back the version you have chosen. In quantum mechanics, there is a key principle that science has proven, but most of us have never applied to our lives. And that is the observer effect. When a particle is observed, it no longer exists as an indefinite wave of possibility. It immediately collapses into a specific particle, into a reality with form. This shows that the way we observe shapes the outcome. But observation is not simply seeing with the eyes. Observation in quantum terms is a state of consciousness. It is the energy of belief or fear that you carry when you focus on a possibility. If you look at reality with trust, with the sense of knowing that what you desire already exists, the wave of possibility will collapse and become reality in your field of experience. But if you look with doubt, with the fear that it is not here yet, with the anxious energy of wanting it to arrive faster, then what you observe remains only a possibility. It exists, but never collapses into reality, because your energy of observation has locked it in a potential state. Think of it simply through the image of a radio. When you want to listen to a specific station, you must tune to its exact frequency. It does not matter how much you want it, how hard you pound the table, or how long you wait. If your radio is set to the wrong frequency, the music you want will never play. Reality works the same way. The waves of all possibilities are always there, existing in parallel. But only when you tune yourself to the right frequency can you experience it in your life. The state of allowing is the essential condition for this tuning to happen. Allowing does not mean passivity or surrender and helplessness. It means releasing rigid control so that body and mind can enter harmony with what is desired. When you allow, you create space for new energy to flow in. When you tighten, you block the flow and lock yourself in the old frequency. This is why so many people, though they crave intensely, never feel the shift, because they have never truly stepped into the state of allowing. In daily life, the state of allowing can be recognized in the moments you feel light, no longer gripped by the pressure of achieving something. It can appear when you stroll in the afternoon sun, when you take a deep breath and relax your whole body, when you sit quietly without trying to change anything. In those moments, your energy becomes clear and reality begins to rearrange itself to mirror that clarity. The important thing to understand is that observation infused with trusting expectation is what has the power to collapse the wave into reality. If you observe with the expectation of failure, with the expectation of lack, or if your subconscious still believes you are unworthy, then those expectations themselves shape the outcome. The universe does not listen to the words you say aloud. It listens to the true energy emanating from your emotions and beliefs. A person living in fear always observes the world through the lens of scarcity. They see obstacles everywhere. They see proof everywhere that what they desire cannot happen. In contrast, a person living in the state of allowing observes the world through the lens of gratitude. They see small signs as evidence of movement, and that observation filled with trust makes the wave collapse into reality faster. Many still think the most important thing is to act a lot, to do a lot, but in quantum reality, correct observation of frequency is far more powerful than hurried action, because action taken from lack only sends the signal of lack, while action taken from allowing and trust sends the signal of alignment, and the universe responds to that signal. Therefore, the observer effect is not just a scientific concept, it is the key to understanding that reality is not as objective as we assume. Reality is a mirror, and the way we observe is the brush painting the image in that mirror. When you observe with faith, you create a trustworthy reality. When you observe with fear, you create a fearful reality. And all possibilities are waiting for you to choose by adjusting the energy of your observation. The state of allowing is not a technique, it is a way of living. It is the ongoing practice of keeping your energy of observation clear, aligned, and trusting. Only then does the wave collapse, and only then does what you desire become present in your experience. There is a strange phenomenon that has occurred throughout history that philosophers and ancient spiritual thinkers spoke long ago about things that modern science has only recently begun to prove. If you pay attention, you will see an interesting intersection where concepts of spirituality, belief, and consciousness are confirmed through the language of quantum physics. And it is precisely this intersection that opens a clearer path for us to understand why changing the inner state can alter the external reality. Neville Goddard, one of the masters of creative reality thought, once said, "Live from the end." This may sound vague, but when you view it through the lens of quantum language, it makes complete sense. Living from the end means embodying the version of yourself you want to become, even when outer evidence has not yet appeared. That is how you tune your frequency into the stream of reality you wish to experience. When you enter that state, you no longer search for the result, you have become the result. And that is why the quantum field responds quickly, because you have already merged with the frequency of what you desire. Meanwhile, Joe Dispenza, a modern researcher, explains it in the language of neuroscience and biology. He points out that to send a clear signal into the quantum field, your brain and heart must be in coherence. The brain emits electromagnetic signals through thought, while the heart emits a much stronger magnetic field through emotion. If these two centers send conflicting signals, the quantum field only receives chaos and reflects that chaos back. But when the brain and heart synchronize, you emit a powerful, sharp, and coherent signal, and only that signal has the resonance strong enough to collapse waves of possibility into reality. Abraham Hicks calls this state stepping into the vortex. The vortex is not a place, it is an emotional state where resistance dissolves and you slide into the natural flow of alignment. When you are in the vortex, you no longer try to control, you no longer cling to results. Instead, you let yourself be carried by the energy stream, and that stream brings you exactly to what resonates with the frequency you are broadcasting. The fascinating thing is that despite coming from different perspectives, they all speak about the same principle. Neville Goddard emphasizes imagination and living as though what you desire has already come true. Joe Dispenza explains with neurological and electromagnetic mechanisms that brain and heart must be in harmony to send a clear signal. Abraham Hicks emphasizes emotion, stepping into the sweet state where resistance is gone. When you piece these together, you see a complete picture And that picture tells you that reality always mirrors the synchronized resonance of thought, emotion, and belief. Modern science today has many experiments proving that human states of consciousness can influence the results of subatomic particles. The observer effect has shown that the expectation of the observer changes the outcome. This means that expectation, belief, or fear can all affect how reality collapses from possibility into actuality. At the same time, ancient masters, centuries ago, taught people how to embody, how to imagine, how to vibrate, as if the desire was already there. They did not have the language of science, but they touched the same truth. When you realize this intersection, you see that you no longer need to choose one side. You do not have to pick science or spirituality. You can walk the path that unites both, keeping the clarity of the mind while opening to the subtlety of feeling. And in that place, you truly step into resonance, where reason and heart sing the same song, and the universe responds by delivering matching experiences. The state of living from the end, the coherence of brain and heart, the state of stepping into the vortex, none of these are distant theories. They are clear invitations for you to practice daily. Each time your mind tenses, return to your breath in gratitude, so that brain and heart return to coherence. Each time you are pulled into the fear of the present, close your eyes and imagine yourself living as your best version. Each time you find yourself resisting the flow, relax and allow yourself to fall into the sweet emotional state where resistance disappears. This is the point where science and ancient wisdom meet. One side uses the language of waves, particles, electromagnetism, and neuroscience. The other side uses the language of belief, imagination, and emotion. But both point to the same truth, that the universe does not respond to what you pretend to be, it only responds to the frequency you truly emit. And when that frequency becomes clear, coherent, and consistent, reality has no choice but to mirror back exactly what you have become. The most important thing most people overlook when talking about manifestation is not what you do, but who you are. Because the universe does not reflect what you want, it only reflects who you are being. This is the subtle but decisive difference between begging and becoming. You can write down an affirmation hundreds of times. You can recite mantras every morning. You can cover your vision board with pictures. But if all of it remains only at the level of form, it has no power. They're like masks worn on the outside, while inside you still carry contradictions, anxiety, and lack. The quantum field does not respond to the mask, it only responds to the energy truly radiating from you. When you understand the essence of being, you will see that what you need to change is not repetitive action, but the state of coherence between thought and emotion. Thought is electric, emotion is magnetic, and together they form an electromagnetic signature you broadcast into the universe. Every moment you are sending out a unique signal, and that signal, not the wishes from your mouth, is the language the quantum field listens to and responds to. If within you there is fear, worry, and distrust, then no matter how many times you say outwardly that you are wealthy, free, or happy, the universe will still receive the opposite signal. Observe your life right now. What emotion are you living with most often? Are you radiating peace or worry? Are you planting trust or doubt? Are you cultivating fullness or lack? The answer to these questions is the essence of being you are living. And your current reality is only the mirror reflecting exactly that essence. Once you see this, you will stop asking why what you want has not come, because the answer is already in the energy you are broadcasting. The essence of being is not a performance. It is not pretending to smile when you do not feel joy. It is not forcing yourself to say positive words when inside you feel heavy. Being is the deepest truth you are carrying in your body and mind. And to change being, you must change the inner frequency, not to hide it, but to reestablish coherence between the mind and the heart. When these two centers synchronize, you send out a signal that is powerful, clear, and consistent. And the universe cannot help but respond. Picture each of us as a broadcasting tower. If you tune your broadcast to the frequency of fear, you will attract experiences that mirror that fear. If you tune to the frequency of gratitude, you will open to experiences that mirror abundance. And the astonishing thing is that you always have the choice of which frequency to tune into at every moment. The issue is not what you desire, but who you choose to be in the face of that desire. This is also why so many people do everything they are taught about manifestation techniques, yet still end up disappointed. They focus on action while forgetting the inner state. They believe that if they write enough, repeat long enough, the universe must hear them. But the universe does not read the papers you write, nor listen to the words you whisper. It only senses the vibration truly radiating from your brain and your heart. And that vibration only appears when thought and emotion move in the same direction. The essence of being is like planting a seed. If you plant it in barren soil, the seed will struggle to sprout. But if you plant it in fertile soil, it will grow naturally without force. The inner state is the soil, and what you desire is the seed. If your soil is lack, the seed will wither. If your soil is trust and abundance, the seed will flourish. So the important question is not what you want, but who you are in this moment. When you learn to adjust yourself into coherence, when you align thought and emotion, you rewrite the electromagnetic signature you send out. And that signature becomes the map for your reality. This is the true power of being. It does not require pretending. It does not require forcing. It only asks you to live aligned with the version where heart and mind sing the same song. And then the universe can only mirror that harmony back to you through matching experiences in your life. There is a truth that few recognize, which is that the future you desire will never arrive if you continue broadcasting the energy of a present filled with anxiety and lack. You may think you are focusing intensely on your goals, but if the root energy within you is worry, fear, or scarcity, then those are exactly the signals the quantum field receives and reflects back. Reality does not respond to words of desire. It only responds to the vibration you are truly radiating. If you are constantly tense about money, you will only receive more evidence of not having enough. If you are always haunted by loneliness, you will only draw in more emptiness. If you long for freedom yet live in fear, you will only encounter greater limits. The solution is not to try harder or work more, but to embody your future self right now. This means practicing the feelings and the energy as if what you desire has already happened. If you want wealth, let your body feel abundance. If you want love, let your heart radiate warmth and connection. If you want freedom, let your breath expand lightly and openly as if no chains exist. When you can do this, you are no longer standing outside hoping for something distant. You have stepped directly into the frequency where it already exists. Neuroscience has revealed a principle called neuroplasticity. The brain does not distinguish between an actual experience and an imagined one felt with full emotion. When you imagine an event and feel it with truth in your body, your brain begins forming new neural pathways as if it had already happened. Repeated often enough, your body grows familiar with that state and accepts it as natural reality. And when the body believes, the quantum field responds. This means you do not need to wait until your desire appears to feel happy, grateful, or complete. You must feel these states now, so your body is reprogrammed. So your brain and heart together send out a new signal. It is that signal that collapses waves of possibility and pulls the future reality into your experience. When you vibrate as though what you want has already occurred, you transform the future into a familiar truth rather than a distant illusion. Imagine waking up tomorrow in a version of life where every desire of yours has been fulfilled. How would you walk? How would your eyes shine? What kind of energy would your smile carry? When you embody that version now, you are no longer pleading. You are becoming. And it is this becoming that compels the universe to reflect it back. Some will say, this feels like deceiving yourself. But the truth is, you are not deceiving. You are training your body to remember a possibility that already exists in the quantum field. Among the countless versions of you, there is already one living in wealth, happiness, and freedom. You are not inventing anything new. You are simply aligning with a version already present. And when you hold that state consistently, you will see opportunities, people, and circumstances begin to appear, all rearranging to mirror the version you have embodied. It is important to remember that embodiment is not done once and forgotten, but is a practice. Just like an instrument must be tuned daily, you must continuously return to the state of your future self. Whenever anxiety arises, stop and breathe deeply. Then recall the feeling that the fulfilled version of you holds. Whenever doubt creeps in, let your heart feel the certainty of that version. Whenever impatience surfaces, step back into the calm of the one who already has it. This is how you align your body, mind, and energy with the future you choose. With enough practice, you will notice a subtle shift. You are no longer obsessed with the outcome because you are already living in it. You no longer wait for a sign because you are the sign. You no longer need outside proof because your body itself has become the proof. And when you reach this state, reality cannot help but reflect what you have become. This is the power of embodying the future self. No striving, no begging, only choosing and living it. And in that choice, you shift out of the old frequency and step into a new stream of reality where what you desire is already a natural part of who you are. Have you ever wondered why sometimes you think very positively, speak powerful affirmations, yet nothing seems to change? The answer lies in the misalignment between thought and emotion. When your mind thinks one way but your heart feels another, you are sending out two opposing signals. The quantum field does not receive a clear message. It only hears chaotic noise, and the reflection it sends back is equally blurred and confused. Thought is electric, emotion is magnetic, and when electricity and magnetism merge, they form an electromagnetic signature that radiates powerfully into the universe. If your thoughts say, "I am abundant," but your emotions tremble with lack, that signature will be distorted. But when both brain and heart synchronize, when thought and feeling harmonize, you transmit a signal that is sharp, consistent, and strong. This is coherence, the state of alignment between brain and heart, the state that turns you into a broadcast tower so clear that the quantum field cannot help but reflect it back. When you enter coherence, your energy becomes seamless and easy to resonate with. It is like striking the right musical note, and the entire room vibrates in harmony. But if you strike the wrong note, the sound feels off and unpleasant. Your energy works the same way, either synchronized and magnetic, or fragmented and disruptive. Reality is not a reward for forced effort. It is only a mirror of the music you are playing within your body and mind. Many people live their entire lives in inner chaos, where the mind longs for one thing, but the emotions cling to fear and doubt. They speak of wealth, but feel poor. They crave love, but carry loneliness. They desire freedom, but drown in insecurity. In such a state, they broadcast a weak and fragmented signal, and the quantum field merely reflects those fragments back as repeated experiences of lack, isolation, and limitation. In contrast, when you practice coherence, you send out a consistent signal. Your mind thinks of abundance, your heart feels abundance, your body relaxes into abundance, and your whole being radiates a clear wave of energy. The quantum field hears that signal and mirrors it back through matching experiences. This is no longer theory, it is physics, for the universe operates on the resonance of frequency. The key is that coherence is not a fleeting moment, but a habit to be repeated. You cannot expect to plant a seed today and harvest tomorrow. A seed requires care, requires time to sprout, and coherence is the same. Each day, you must return to this state of alignment, even for just a few minutes. Gradually, your body and mind adapt to the new frequency, and maintaining it becomes natural. At that point, consistent energy is no longer an effort, but your essence. Picture yourself as a radio, each day, tuning the dial to the right frequency. At first, the signal is noisy. Static interferes with the music. But with patience and small adjustments, eventually you hear the melody clearly. And once you are locked onto the right frequency, you no longer have to try. The music simply plays. Your life works the same way. Once you stabilize in coherence, the reality you desire flows naturally without force. The power of coherence is not only in attracting what you want, but in transforming who you are. When brain and heart are aligned, you not only broadcast a clear signal, you also feel a profound peace, an unshakable trust. You stop doubting and start living in faith. And it is this transformation that becomes the foundation upon which all other possibilities unfold. Coherence is the bridge that carries you from theory to experience. It turns affirmations into living truth, dreams into present states, and shifts you from a seeker into a resonator. This is the secret, that only those who truly enter coherence understand that reality does not come from rushing, but from the consistency of the energy you radiate every day. When you plant the seed of coherence today and nurture it daily, you are cultivating a new garden of reality. And that garden will bloom when you are patient enough to keep aligning, to keep returning to the harmony between your mind and heart. Because once you live in coherence, reality can do nothing but mirror back the clarity, strength, and wholeness you have become. Perhaps what holds most people back is not that they lack intelligence or knowledge, but that they do not believe simplicity can bring such a profound transformation. We are conditioned to think that change requires struggle, that achievement requires suffering, that success requires sacrifice. But in the quantum field, truth flows in the opposite direction. The quantum field does not demand that you suffer to prove yourself worthy. It only needs you to emit a signal that is clear and consistent. And that signal arises when you are simple enough to stop chasing, still enough to align, steady enough to live as if what you desire is already here. Think for a moment, how many times have you waited for a sign from the outside to believe you are on the right path? You wait for a number, a coincidence, someone's confirmation. But when you wait, you are declaring to the universe that you do not yet have it. And as a result, you continue to experience lack. The truth is, you do not need to wait for a sign because you are the sign. When you walk with trust, when you speak and act as if your desire has already materialized, you become the living confirmation. And then the universe has only one task: to mirror the sign you have become. Simplicity is the key. No complex rituals, no rigid structures, no turning the journey into a battle. The truth is, the simpler it is, the purer your energy becomes. And this purity is what makes the quantum field respond most powerfully. Remember, every timeline already exists. Every possibility is already present. You are not creating from nothing. Your only task is to stop resonating with the old and to align with the new. When you live from the end, impatience disappears. You do not ask when it will come. You do not question whether you deserve it. You simply live as though it is already there. And when you live this way, you no longer need to attract reality because you have become its very gravity. Reality does not come because you plead for it. It comes because you have merged with it. You will notice the change in the smallest things. You will walk with a certainty you never had before. You will feel a deep peace replacing restlessness. And gradually, opportunities, people, and circumstances begin to appear at the perfect time. Not as miracles, but as the natural reflection of the frequency you have chosen. Living from the end is not a destination, it is a path. It is how you choose each breath, each decision, each emotion. When you choose simplicity, when you choose stability, when you choose trust, you open a new flow for your life. And that flow cannot help but carry you to the exact place you have already become. Before closing, I want to send you my heartfelt gratitude. Thank you for listening, for being present, for giving your precious time to walk with me on this journey. Your presence is not only a source of motivation, it is proof that we are resonating together on a higher frequency. I wish you always find peace within yourself, always live fully as the best version of who you are, and always remember that you do not need to wait, because you are the sign. If you feel what I have shared brings value to you, please support by subscribing to the channel. Your subscription not only helps you continue receiving inspiring content, but also lets me know that I am not speaking alone. It is a connection, a two-way flow of energy, and something truly precious for anyone creating content. Once again, thank you. And may you always live from the end. Because it is in that very simplicity that the door opens to an entirely new reality in your life.